everybody. Sorry I had to make this a two-parter. It was everything was moving so quick it looked like some bad. It was bad, so I had to slow it down. So I had to take it in two parts. I usually don't do well with two-part series. The next one's going to be released soon. You usually watch only the second one, not the first. This is the making of the front leaves. Already measured the distance that I'm doing there. And right now I'm doing the center of the hub, or the axle. Measure how far down. The plans are only so good, okay? They're not. There's no side view without the axle.
Run up here, Puggle.
So, here's my wife's talking to the dog. Anyway, right now, mostly off camera, it looks like, I have the leaf springs cut at an 1/8 inch. I believe it was an 1/8. Anyway, actually look fatter than that. And I'm rounding the edges. All leaf springs that I've ever seen are rounded, edged all the way around. That way, there's less chance of breaking. There's no stress crack that could happen as much as usually when they break, they just pop. We had an old pickup that shucked the leaf spring. It was an overload, so we drove it that way. It was just the overload, the one you have to really have it loaded. The last spring on the leaf. Anyway, I'm using I can't think what you call it, a burnishing tool. That's right there in my hand, and I'm making the plastic start to curl and thinning it so I can bend this around the bushing, which I got prepared right there. That's a Corvette exhaust pipe from the C3 or C2, sorry, from the last model I did. So as I'm gluing the bushing to my finger, I decided I better put it on the model. It stayed there. What I'm trying to see is, can I get 2 leaf springs out of that one? And I think I don't remember. Old age event. Unsubscribe if you don't like it. Don't. Please don't. Anyway, I'm back to the old rounding the edges. This is how I also make struts for World War I aircraft or anything aerodynamically shaped strut. Only it's not 10,000th thick. It's usually, maybe this is 20. It's usually 30 or 40. You round the edge, but you keep it on the card and you just scrape both sides until you get a point. And then you go from there. Yeah, I'm just cleaning the fuzz off it. And a new blade helps, but it's not really. If you have a sharp point, like mine, my tips get dull, not the central blade, or they break. Like you guys don't have that trouble, do you? Yeah. I might as well just buy a pack of blades with the tips broke off them. See, I'm working that plastic. It's actually getting a little fatter than it should be, but hey, who cares? Flattening out that bushing. And I marked it. Use my flush cut snips. Doing all this magic off camera can't give everybody the idea. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Oh, I know. I'm pushing, was humping up there. the leaf spring was actually bulging out a little. I'm getting the length and the curve, which I have drawn on there between. If I hit that, I'm gonna have to draw it in a darker pencil next time, or at least show you what I'm doing. I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, but first of all, the format of my camera went wonky until about the end of this series, and I found the problem, and I wasn't going to go back and make leaf springs. So I'm trying to snug in a little more so you and see what I'm trying to do. There, see, that's how it hooks. It actually, there's a front bushing there that goes onto. I still got to trim them on the car. This is the first leaf spring being made. The second spring, which I got a curve to fit the other one. Just take your fingers. Then I use Plastistruct glue. I like this because it takes a little longer to dry. You can move it around to reposition it. It's not like Tamiya's Extra Thin or Mr. Surface, whatever it is, Mr. Cement, whatever Mr. it is. That one has a tendency to set now, and you're kind of screwed. Marking the second one off my other leaf spring that is, or on that leaf spring, and I'm not wasting time. I'm getting this down. Also, too, the rounded edges on these things helps you to see the leaf spring. Duh. Trimming off more of a rounded. I'm actually can see in the photo which one's trimmed what way to a point, but when it gets down towards the axle, it gets very blurry. So I figured they were not. They're more rounded. Then again, I could be wrong. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I think they don't want a square one. Again, they'd be rounded corners for stress. I don't know. I got a leaf spring out back. I gotta look at it. Or climb under my truck. I'll go look at it. After this whole video is from the front end. This video and the second one is coming out real soon. In fact, I got it ready. I'm going to upload this one first, and the second one will be out. And this is all nothing but the front end, and I'm still not done with it because I got to make the tie rod, a place for the push arm. I don't even know what you'd call a pitman arm or whatever. Then they got a sickle-shaped pitman arm, I should say, on the front. That's the main steering part. Figuring out how that is, since it's in the front of the axle, and the other side tire is actuated on the back of the axle. That could be fun. No photos I can find. I got to comb through them to at least give me an idea what they did. Or I'll have to come up with something of my own. I know, 2 ropes tied around the steering wheel. That'll work. Yeah, I'll do that. You know, like go-kart or gravity go-kart. Now, I got that one done. I'm letting that dry. I am making I ended up using these, much to my mistake. Not mistake, but it was actually a good thing I made them. These are to hold down the leaf spring to the axle. And some idiot, who will remain nameless, but his first name begins with a D and the last one ends with a B, glued it on upside down. So I had to put these on, but it needed 2 anyway, but I just wasn't going to show it because the tape covered it. Well, you're going to get to see it. I used them on this because what I did is I accidentally made them too narrow. But when I redid it, I could cut off the tabs and just place them over the bolts or bolts that are sticking through. You'll see. It might not be in this video. Stay tuned. Same bad time, same bad channel. Well, I don't know about you guys. It's definitely turned into fall this week. I know some of you guys, like up in South Dakota, and I probably know that well. Highs are in the high 40s or low 50s, and they ain't horrible by any means. I'm using a mixture of Tester's tube glue and Plastistruct liquid glue to make a nice, sticky, but quick drying cement without being super glue. So what that means is if I have to, I can bend it. Plus, I like this better because it leaves no strings, and you get the filling action of tube glue, and you get the quickness of a liquid. That's me. Nobody else does that stuff that I know of, except for goo glue, you know, where you melt sprue in your thinner or in your extra thin. See how I'm pushing it out and it's actually pulling a little bit of plastic off. Now I'm using the other one as a template. If I would have thought, I could have measured each one and had the second one just use the paper as a guide, but I didn't think of it. I was caught up in the moment. I actually had a lot of fun making these. I don't know what you're thinking. You idiot. How can that be fun? Okay, doing the other one to the next length. The first one is elongated, and the next one's more rounded, and after that they're all rounded. I was looking for, I couldn't find any evidence of I don't know what they call them, but there was a hole, in modern ones there's a hole drilled in, there's some sort of stay made in them, so it stays together, even if a leaf breaks. I think this in here, if the leaf breaks, you're pretty much down, and if you're driving at 140 mile an hour, which is 141, with this thing, you have a leaf break, it's probably not good. I'm just trying to center them now from left and right. No, I believe from the last one. I'm just trimming them around. They all conformed to the leaf's roundness, like overloads on a pickup or anything like that. Some of them will be flat and not touching the other leaf except for where it's bolted to the axle. So I was looking for anything that might be different. Okay, now what am I doing? Oh, I'm showing you the plans are wrong. I noticed, I was going to do it. I made this actually before I got thinking about it, so you get to see that I didn't realize the drawing was wrong. And the reason why it's wrong is they show a hooked object that holds the bushing and the front leaf and two shackles. Well, I noticed on the color one they have a straight shackle bolted into the frame, and even then that caused some like, what did they? And so I didn't really kind of believe that. And then I got looking at old photos from 1914 with the original before it was restored, the way it was. And on this car here, the shackle was actually through the frame. So I made these saying, man, that's going to be easy now. I don't have to guess where anything's at. Nothing's in the way. And I'm wrong. That's why you'll find out later. It presented a problem that I didn't foresee, that there's making of that hook thing I was telling you about. And then somewhere here, right now, it dawned on me that I got to make shackles and it goes through the frame. Since whoever drew the drawing based his one on the one in Germany for the Blitzen Benz, it goofed the rivet pattern up on the car, on the side of it, because the motor mount was actually, I don't know, I have to look, move back or move forward a little. I don't know what they did. I don't know why they changed it. Maybe because there's 3 rivets there in a triangle shape with the point to the bottom. Those are the motor mounts, and they're by the way, this ain't a shackle. I think I'm making the oh, it is. Anyway, mine are too far forward by a little bit, so I got to reposition them. I'm not still not sure if I'm happy with the rivets. I might go to make some out of sprue. I'm just flattening the edges so I got a good glue contact. Got my tube glue out. Now, I got this set in a particular order because it goes through the frame and there's a shackle on the back that sticks up by the frame. I presume, because you wouldn't want one leaf spring with one shackle on one side. That would cause a lot of stress. Now I'm putting all my parts in there because I found something funner to do. Yep. Making hex head bolts. I got lazy. I didn't grab my black. I paid for it. I actually got this one to work, but I was like, it's no more than 6 inches from me, and didn't even think it. I don't have no excuse. These are for the shackles. There we go. And I decided I'm going to go back to that ditch thing. I got to make something for this. How? I got some aluminum and probably carve something out for it. But anyway, this way I don't have to fight it trying to turn with it in that block of balsa. I bought some hex head plastic rod, And I should have ordered a couple sizes bigger than the biggest one I got. Even then, you always get something in the middle. Yay, I have a hex. Just using that to clean off any drilling from dragging the X-Acto knife over it. Now, I cut these rather large, cleaning any fuzz I can off it. There's my shackles. I got to put all the, and I go back and trim them shorter so they don't look like they're the longest bolt you ever seen, like an all thread bolt. I got to do the shackles that are inside the frame. Right now I'm making the, I believe they're another form of shackle that holds the leaves from separating. It's on the front of the second leaf on both ends. So I'm making that right now. There's a leaf spring material. I'm trying to make it wide so I don't fight it. I'm cutting them long. A little hard to cut them longer. When you use that burnishing tool, that helps the plastic. It thins it enough so it doesn't crack. But this is fairly new. I think this is 10,000th card. And or 10,000th plastic. So it makes it a little easier to get. So I got to make 4 of them, 2 per leaf set. Now I'm using Mr. Cement here to fix it. Try not to get my fingers in it. Then once that sets up a little, I'll squeeze it and then glue them on the sides so they're right next to the leaf spring. Yep, I got to put bolts through there. Well, simulate bolts. There's where I'm using to hold them together. That stuff reacts pretty quick, so it's, if you got it to stay, it's going to stay. I'm cutting the width of the bolts, the body of the bolt that goes through it, that actually lays on top somewhat of the leaf spring, goes in between the 2 shackles. There we go. what I'm doing there is I'm snipping as I'm going. I don't want it too short, but it can't be long either, so I'm just shaving a very small amount on there. And do the same one with the other one. Could you imagine this sped up at 700 frames a second? This is at 4. And I didn't want to bore you guys to death, but if I'd have went to just normal, like 300, it would have... I didn't notice I was using tweezers there to hold it up straight, and that made it difficult to see, but there they are, they're in there. Okay, that's it guys for this one. The next one will be following shortly. Thanks for watching. Like if you like. Have a good night.